wear brown and orange, you don't matter.
Let this be a reminder to you all that this organization will not tolerate failure.
Well, buddy boy, I want you to get excited here.
With the first pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield.
Okay, listen up, people. I'm going to turn you clowns into a football team.
To the best fans, the most patient fans in the league, the Browns are going to win.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Boys and girls, welcome once again to another episode of The Parking Lot. I'm a little somber today, Kevin.
A little somber?
A little somber. I'm not feeling it. I was expecting... let me rephrase. I expected to lose.
You did.
I said it last week. I didn't think that we were going to, but it still sucks. I was really hoping to win.
You called the loss.
I called the loss, and now that it's here, I regret it, and I wish that it wasn't true. I wish that we would have won.
You knew that it was going to be a close game. I think you're disappointed that the game ended up being as close as it was.
You know what? I didn't think it was going to be a close game. I thought with our secondary that it was going to be a rout, and the fact that it was close. You're right. The fact that it was close and we lost is what. I'd probably be happier if it was 45-3. I would just feel better.
Yeah.
Now I'm just salty. I'm salty that we lost this game, and it was like a Clint Eastwood Western. It was the good, the bad, and the ugly going on in this game.
Boy. We're gonna have to work on your references.
Little. That's a good one. Clint Eastwood, baby, come on, spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow.
Oh, we're definitely gonna have to work on your sound effects.
I'll work on those later. Good things. A couple good things. Some good things happened in this game. Bad things happened in this game. And a lot of ugly things happened in this game.
There were some ugly things in this game. I didn't even watch the game. I just saw recaps, and there were definitely some ugly things.
There were. There was ugliness. You guys saw. You know what the ugliness was. But before we get to the ugliness, let's talk about some good stuff.
Okay.
First and foremost, I have to give a shout out to my childhood idol, Clay Matthews. Sent to Kevin doesn't have the picture. We had a picture.
No, I have the picture. It's right here.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
there he is. That's my boyhood idol.
I was just holding out hope on being your childhood idol.
Clay Matthews Jr. Senior is actually his father. He played in the NFL.
And the only one that really matters is the third, but we'll get to that later.
Not true. A hell of a family, hell of a football family. His father played for San Francisco for 4 years. His career was actually interrupted because of the Korean War. He came back. I think he played a couple more years. At the prime of his career, cut short by war. Had happened to a lot of ball players, like baseball players, like World War II. Yep. So, nonetheless, Clay Matthews is enshrined into the Cleveland Browns Ring of Honor, and it could really, really boost his credentials into possibly getting into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
He has been a fringe candidate for the Hall of Fame for a number of years now. He's on the ballot again. Me personally, obviously, I'm incredibly biased because I watched him for his entire career. He actually was drafted by the Browns the year that I was born. So I literally grew up watching Clay Matthews my entire life. So it was awesome to see him play. I wore, when I played football, not well for a very brief time. Don't give me any crap about it. I wore number 57 because I idolized Clay Matthews. It was awesome. I was really, really hoping that we could get his son when he left Green Bay. I was hoping that the Browns could sign him. I wanted it to happen so bad, just for nostalgia purposes. Plus, he is a really good player.
He is. Though not as much when he left Green Bay.
Well, I mean, listen, he was,
Green Bay got his best years.
They did, but if he's got the genes like his father.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, he could still play for another 6-7 years. Dad played until he was 40, effectively.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Which I think, again, it goes back to your point about players of that era and the types of things that, they were almost expected to do.
Well, they were certain. I don't know if I want to say tougher because I don't want to sound but they were. They played it was a different brand of football back then in that era. To have that level of longevity in that era where people are getting concussed and going back into the game 3 or 4 times a game.
Right.
And he doesn't have squash. It's not like noodles in there. He's got a brain. I mean, Clay is still solid and around, which is good. So I'm glad to see it. Congratulations. All right, Clay Matthews, Cleveland Browns, Ring of Honor. We're going to give him a cheer. You cheer for Clay Matthews. Damn it. You cheer for him.
No, okay. Message
All right.
heard.
So that's the good. It was awesome to see Clay go into our Ring of Honor. Again, hopefully it boosts his Hall of Fame credentials or possibility. I'd like to see him in Canton one day. Don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it happens. That's some of the good.
Some of the good.
The other good, since Clay was on the defensive side of the ball, we'll keep things defensively. Wow. I was impressed with the way that the defense stepped up in this game.
Mm-hmm.
The entire secondary, gone. Team captain Christian Kirksey, linebacker, gone again for the second year in a row. But to have your entire secondary completely wiped out, going up against one of arguably the best offenses in the NFL. They're averaging like 30 points a game under Sean McVay.
Wow.
It's insane what these guys have been doing. Went to the Super Bowl last year. Crazy points. And they showed up. They showed up. They came to ball. And I can't say anything more to sing the praises of our defensive coordinator because he had him ready to go. He had him fired up.
Yep.
And they played. I mean, the one guy, and please forgive me, don't kill me, I forgot his name. We cut him like last week. And then we were like, hey, by the way, do you want to
come back?
You want to come back?
I think you left some things here.
Yeah,
you
you
might
got
wanna
your
come.
locker. You forgot a Oculus in your locker. Yeah, come back. By the way, since you're here, do you want to start? Can you start on Sunday? Because we're going to need you to start. And he did. And he stepped up. He got an interception.
Yeah.
I mean, the secondary played absolutely outstanding. I think that you can't expect anything more than that in those circumstances.
Absolutely. And not to bore your viewers with a little soccer talk, but
why do you say it in a Boston accent? Is that
because the owners of the Boston Red Sox are the owners of my Liverpool Football Club?
Oh,
Fun fact. So
okay.
That's why we say soccer. First of all, it's football. But anyway, we'll save that argument for
all
a
right.
whole other day.
I might have to kick you off the show.
I have a point that I'm trying to get to.
Get
if you'd
there.
let me. No, so there was a lot of talk this week. Liverpool played a tough game against a good team. They ended up winning, but it wasn't as comfortable as some of their other wins. And the questions were starting to come out because it wasn't a blowout win. The perils of rooting for a championship team is those are the questions that get asked. But the question was, okay,
Agreed.
If you're out one of your star players or two of your star players, is your management good enough to get the rest of your team, those subs that are going to come in to start, playing at the same level as everyone else?
That's a good point.
And that's what I'm backing my way into here,
All right.
Saying that clearly
You Tarantino'd it.
I did.
But we
at
got
least
there.
on the defensive side this week, the Browns were ready for that.
They were. And again, especially in the secondary. I like the penetration of the D-line. I said last week that what you wanted to do, a key to the game, was to put pressure onto Jared Goff because he's a different player when he's under pressure.
Absolutely.
And that was exactly the case. If he's allowed to stand back there and he has time to throw, he's going to shred you. And he did it because every single time he had time to throw, Cooper Kupp. And there's a reason he's on my fantasy team because I'm no fool.
Right.
But he did. And that's who he looks for. He goes to him every time. And if he doesn't, he's got Robert Woods on the outside and he found him open a few times. I mean, and he can sling it. When they got to him, it was a completely different story. We were forcing bad throws. We were forcing turnovers. We were forcing, them to punt the ball.
Right.
They did everything that they needed to do to win this game on the defensive side of the ball.
Yes.
And that's where all of the good in this game comes to an end. Because now we get to the bad, which was undoubtedly the offense. Did not show up again. Didn't show up. I don't. I'm frustrated. I'm not ready to hit the panic button still yet. I think that, again, here in Cleveland, we are conditioned to just jump off the bridge immediately.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a positive spin on this and say that I like the adversity. I hate that term. I think that it's something that's overused in sports. Adversity. But we do need that challenge, and I'm glad that it's kind of coming to us this early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have it so we know what kind of team we have. What are we made of? I talked about in the first week, which, by the way, don't watch episode 1.
just another reminder.
Just another reminder to go ahead and forego that one.
One more time, just don't start with episode 2.
Start with 2.
Yeah.
Stay with this one. If you want to go back and review it, you can. Feel free, but just try not to. But in that episode, I did bring up the fact that this is new. This is so new, and I think that people forget that. They forget the level of expectations were so high.
Yes.
They forgot so many basic things, fundamentals in football building. You got to go out there and play. You have to gel. You have to find a cohesiveness. Just because you have it on paper doesn't mean that you're going to come out and stomp the world. Right. We have the talent. We have the pieces, but we still need to figure out how to play. We know how to play as a football team. We know how to compete. We know how to play well. We're trying to figure out how to play at an elite level, at a contender level, a championship level. And that's different.
It's very different.
That's completely different than just trying to be a decent football team or a solid football team or a football team that's just trying to compete. I think we're past that. I think we proved that to ourselves last year. Hey, we can do this. We're trying to figure out how to take that next step. And this is a much harder step to take.
It is.
Going from a poor team to a mediocre team is one thing. Going from a mediocre team to a good team to an elite team is very, very different. And if people thought that was going to happen in 2 or 3 games, I don't know what to say. You were wrong. You were wrong to think that. It's absurd to think that. I don't know why you would have. There are a lot of people, again, like I talked about last week, talking Super Bowl. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. And we're seeing why. I'm not going to jump off the bridge. Do you think we're not prepared correctly? We'll get to that in a second. I'm not going to jump off the bridge yet.
Yeah.
I'm conditioned to, as a Browns fan, to want to do that. But I'm not going to yet because I still think that we're figuring it out. And I like some things. Some things I don't. I'll answer P-Dub's question here. Do you think we were not prepared correctly? I don't know.
Obviously, the secondary was.
The secondary was, I think, because we're going to talk, when you talk about preparation, you talk about coaching, which inevitably we're going to go back to Freddie Kitchens, and there's a lot to unpack when it comes to Freddie Kitchens in this particular game. Again, Steve Wilkes had his team ready to play. Our defense was fired up. They did what they were supposed to do. I think there were parts of the offense that were doing what they were supposed to do.
Right.
It was kind of a tale of 2 different teams. Again, like last week, I said it was going to be a key for Baker to get the ball out quickly. If he holds on to the ball, he's going to get killed. And what happened? Every time he held on to the ball, he got killed. He became part of the field.
Yes.
Every time he got rid of the ball quickly, the Browns were moving the ball. We were moving, we were scoring, we were putting points on the board. So clearly we were prepared in some facets. I don't know. Obviously we weren't all the way around. One thing I will say, and Kevin, we can get into this now, is the discipline. The penalties. Penalties, once again, are a problem. Drive-killing penalties. Penalties that extend drives for the other team, kill drives for your own team. That's a discipline problem. I don't know how you can put that on anything else or anybody else except coaching.
Right.
And we lead the league in penalties.
You're tied for the league in penalties.
Tied for the league in penalties.
With Atlanta.
Okay. Well, and look, Atlanta's getting roasted for it, too.
Absolutely.
Look at where they are, too. Atlanta's in the same boat. They're 1-2.
11.2 per game.
Yeah.
11.7 penalties per game.
And you can't have that. That leads to 35 penalties in 3 games, 18 versus the Titans, 9 versus the Jets. Now you made I don't know if it was
They're
snark,
trending in the right direction.
It's going down. I agree.
But even if you give them the benefit of the doubt, even if you say this is the way they're supposed to be playing, if 8 penalties versus the Rams is where they're supposed to be, that jumps them all the way to 22nd in the league.
Okay, yeah. I mean, To me, though, it still shows a lack of discipline.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not saying that you go a game, you're going to get called for penalties. It's going to happen. I still think 8 is too much, especially some of the penalties that we had, too. Again, with shooting ourselves in the foot. Again, coming out, opening up the game, and it's like flag, false start holding. That's got to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
Now,
you can look at the breakdown here and see that a lot of those are the preventable kind of penalties.
Especially on defense, because aren't all of those Myles Garrett's penalties? All 12 of them?
Not all of them. No, he only has 9 of your...
Does he really? It's 8 or 9. It's up there.
Yeah, I looked it up earlier, and now I can't remember.
You did, but yeah.
No, he only has 4. I'm sorry, he only has 4. 2 roughing the passer, 2 offsides, 1 unnecessary roughness.
Right. So, but I mean, 19 penalties for 141 yards. You're not going to win. That's only in 3 games. That's unacceptable.
Well, and that's the other thing to look at, though. On the defensive side, 12 penalties for 130. Because of what they are, Myles Garrett accounts for 50 of that 130 yards.
Exactly. The thing that stands out to me, though, is the offensive holding, the false starts, that's preparation.
That's drive killers.
And
those are drive killers.
Absolutely. And to top it off, there was a point in the game, where yesterday we had a false start penalty. Those guys on the other side of the ball, especially Aaron Donald for the Rams, those guys are beasts. Yeah. They're monsters. Baker's trying to do hard counts to induce them, and we're jumping off sides. Mm-hmm. You can't do that.
You've got to know your own count.
Those self-inflicted wounds. So to me, you have to lay that at the feet of Freddie Kitchens. That's preparation. That's discipline. To me, that is completely unacceptable. Overall, though, I have to say that they did look prepared. I think they had a game plan. It was very clear what it was, what they were trying to do. And when they did it, it was working. Mm-hmm. It's when, for whatever inexplicable reasons, they went away from what was working. And again, that has to go to Freddie Kitchens. I don't know if that's preparedness, though. So to answer the question, I do think that they were prepared. Again, especially defensively, they were. I think we had a game plan offensively. It was working. We were putting points up. So it's hard to say. Do you think if we had Mike McCarthy or Bruce Arians as head coach, we would have more wins? Mike McCarthy, no. I was going to say, let me bring you. I'll let you answer the Mike McCarthy question. Hard no.
As the neighborhood Packer fan, yeah, hard no on Mike McCarthy.
I will say this on the Bruce Arians thing. At the end of the year last year, I was an advocate for Bruce Arians.
Absolutely.
Only for one reason. Bruce Arians is just a stopgap. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the guy, but I think Bruce Arians is like 68 years old. He doesn't have a lot of time left as a head coach in the NFL. So I thought he would be great to come in, show everybody how it was going to be done, specifically Freddie Kitchens, for a couple of years, get this team to championship level, then hand everything over.
Right.
Obviously, it didn't happen. Freddie Kitchens is here now. So I guess there's really no way to second guess it. What we have is what we have. And I'm here to tell everybody this right now as well. Because there's people who, and I'll get into a little bit more on Freddie Kitchens here in 1 second. I just want to say this to everybody in Cleveland. He's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. We have seen this carousel of hire coaches, fire coaches, hire them, fire them, hire them, fire them. 1 year, 2 years, new man. No, that's not happening. We are going to live and die with Freddie Kitchens. I'm telling you that right now, regardless of what happens.
Right.
I'm telling you, John Dorsey is going to stick with him. Jimmy Haslam is going to stick with him. We are in this with him for I don't want to say the long haul, but he's going to be here for at least the short-term future. He's going to be here for a while. So everybody needs to get used to it. Now,
that's an interesting point you bring up, though, about the idea of bringing in a coach to essentially mentor your next coach before they get the job.
Well, I think that it would have worked, too, because, again, and this is another point I think people are forgetting, is that Freddie Kitchens not only is a rookie head coach, he was only a coordinator for half a season. He's got a lot of work and learning to do himself. He has a learning curve as well. Mm-hmm. I don't want people piling on him, oh, this guy's terrible, blah, blah, blah. He has an incredible pedigree. They talked about it on the game last night, who Freddie Kitchens has worked for, and it is an absolute stellar list of coaches. Bill Parcells, Nick Saban, Bruce Arians. He's worked with fantastic coaches. And he's worked college, he's worked NFL. He has a load of experience.
Right.
He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. This is a new job. He's figuring this out on his own right now as well.
Figure it out.
I've figured out. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt still. I don't see a reason not to. Is he making mistakes right now? Yes. And he made a couple of huge ones in the game last night. I'm not going to not take him to task when he needs to be called out, because he does, especially in last night's game. Some things that he did were completely inexcusable. Some things, I wonder if it is a play calling versus an execution problem. And I don't know. See, it's hard for us as fans. We don't know what the play call was, number one.
Right.
And especially with RPOs, we don't know exactly what the reads are supposed to be. We're not defensive geniuses. We don't know what Baker's looking. We don't understand. So we don't, and ultimately, did the offense execute? There were a lot of times where we executed perfectly and we were moving the ball. Then all of a sudden, we seemed to stall when things went haywire. I don't know if that's on Freddie Kitchens for calling a bad play or if it's on the Browns for just not executing. And when it's not executing, whose fault is it? Is it the offensive line? Is it Baker Mayfield? Yes, a little bit of both on that. I think it's still a lot of things. You can't say it's one particular thing. It's not, oh, that's it. It's Freddie Kitchens. Stop calling plays. He's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. I can't go down that road. There's a lot of Browns fans that are already doing that. I'm not going down that road. I'm not. I think that he's still learning. I think that we still have talent to get this figured out. And I ultimately think that we're going to. This is a learning experience. I'm enjoying it, whether or not, we're stopping the world, but
P-Dubs here is reading your mind, because this is something I know you wanted to get to anyway.
Yeah. All right. Look, I'll talk about the fourth down. I'll talk about the fourth down call. There were two parts of this that were completely inexplicable to me. First and foremost, it's 17-13, fourth quarter. We're on their side of the field. It's 4th and 9. You want to go for it? Cool, but you call a draw.
That don't make no sense.
That makes no sense of any kind. And of course it didn't work. We get stuffed. And I'm thinking to myself,
What are you doing? What are you doing?
what are you doing? Freddie Kitchens, what are you doing? And he said so after the game. And again, this is where I think the learning curve comes in. He's like, you know what? That was a terrible call. If it works, he's a genius.
Right.
It's one of those things. If it works, he's a genius. It's a terrible call at a terrible time, and ultimately it led them to get the ball back in great field position. Again, the defense stepped up, though, and held them to just a field goal to put us in position to at least be able to tie the game. Now, this is where I have a big problem with Freddie Kitchens' play calling in these two situations. 4th and 9, he calls a running play. Terrible idea. Now it's the fourth quarter. We've got the ball, 1st and goal at like the 4, and all of a sudden he calls 4 straight passes. Why don't you at least run? So you'll run the ball at 4th and 9 from the 40, but you won't run the ball when we're inside the 5-yard line with the game, the balance, the game in balance.
Right.
I can't even talk right now. It's baffling to me, and that's inexcusable. Both of those calls, and I don't understand the decision-making process there. I don't get it. It's inexcusable. You can't have that. It was inept. It was inept, and ultimately, that's what cost us the game, because it gave them points, and it cost us points. You can't do it. And so that I'm absolutely going to lay at the feet of Freddie Kitchens. To his credit, he stepped up after the game, and he said, put it on me. He said, put it on me. And I'm going to, because he's right. He deserves to have it put on him. But again, I'm still going to let it go a little bit. It's growing pains.
Right.
I don't know what people want. They want Super Bowl offense. It's not going to happen. To be great,
not overnight. No.
To be good at something, to be good at anything you want to do, you have to fail at it first. You have
the
to.
thing is, you want him to blow this 4th down call now, so that in the future, in the playoffs, those aren't the calls getting blown because he's unfamiliar with the situation. He's gone through it. He's made, arguably, a bonehead call. I don't think he makes that mistake again.
Right. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And now I'll turn it towards Baker a little bit too. Tale of two games with Baker. When it was get the ball out quick, he was doing it. He was getting it out quick. He was finding the open receivers. He was doing what we were good at last year. I have a problem with Baker Mayfield. Again, I am not going to panic about him. I'm not, but I'm going to take him to task. Dude, you need to step up in the pocket. I don't know what he's doing. When he drops back to pass, I understand that we have some guys that we're trying to get the ball to downfield. In Odell, in Jarvis Landry. You're trying to take some home run shots, and I get it, but there were so many times in that game last night where I'm thinking to myself, step up, make a throw, and get us moving the ball down the field, and he didn't. He ran, and especially to his right, and we didn't see this from Baker last year. We saw decisive plays from him last year, and he looks like, I don't know what to do, default, I'm going to run to my right. And especially when you have a beast like Aaron Donald chasing you, you can't do that. You're giving the defense an angle at you, you're making poor throws, bad things are going to happen, and you're not as effective. Step up. There were many times in that game last night where he could have stepped. The pocket was there.
Right.
The offensive line did not play great. I am not going to make excuses for them. They weren't great, but they did enough, plenty of times to give him time to step up in the pocket and make a throw.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it. That needs to change with Baker Mayfield. Again, since we're on Baker, I'm going to harp at it. I don't know if you can bring it up now, Kevin.
Absolutely.
The final play of the game, we're going to show something. We're going to roll the play, the interception here on fourth down. Here's the play. Again, Baker steps back, and then he's going to go to his right. He's going to run backwards. He's going to throw the ball off his back foot. It's picked off. It's intercepted. Here's the problem that I have, because this is what I screamed at. Yeah. Bring up the still shot of this, and you can look at this, everyone. Look at that in front of Baker Mayfield.
Acres of space.
Not only acres and acres of space, all the defenders going completely different ways.
Yep.
All he needs to do is step up. He can either make a throw from that position, or he can run that ball in. There is no reason whatsoever for him to do what he did in that situation. And it was something that he kept doing all game long to the team's detriment. Every time he got rid of the ball quick, and even on a few occasions where he stepped up and fired the ball in, things were positive. That needs to get corrected. I don't know if that's Freddie Kitchens. I don't know if that's Baker. Again, I think it's a combination of the two things. It's tough. This is all the learning. I'm gonna sound like a broken record.
A little bit.
It's a process, and we need to keep going through it, and we need to keep learning. I don't like it. I'm frustrated by it. It's bullshit. I want to go out and win. I want to score points. I want us to be good. I want us to be like we were last year. I know, but it's not going to be that easy. It's just not going to be that easy for everybody. I don't know where I was going to go next. I kind of lost mine. I was looking at the screen here. Right. Things are like piling up.
I know. Peter had a few more comments there.
And I you know what? I like comments. I like the commenting. That's good. So again, look, that's all the bad. That's all the ugly. And it's hopefully we can get all of that cleaned up. A little bit of more good though. Myles Garrett again, just beasting another sack. A strip sack at that.
Right.
On my fantasy team. Got me mad points. I still lost though. I don't want to talk about it. By like 10.
My team
Your team shit the bed.
They phoned it in bad.
It was so bad.
But that's not what we're here to talk about.
I was happy to see it. But no, Myles Garrett, he got the pressure in again. No penalties for Myles. We were talking about that earlier. Yeah. So no penalties. I'm still not.
I'm their stats here.
Listen, I'm still not. I can't see the stats now because I don't know how to get rid of. Do we know how to do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm moving the mouse like my mouse is controlling the monitor. We're figuring things out here, people. It's brand new stuff. No, there we go. We reset it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. 6 sacks for Myles Garrett. 4 total takeaways for the Browns. Again, stepped up. Defense got the takeover. That was what was frustrating again too. Was we won the turnover battle in a close game and you lose. You can't have that. the Scottish Hammer throwing it down. Hit some great punts. I know that I hate
does.
saying that. I hate saying that you had good punts.
You hate to
so,
cheer, have to cheer for the punter.
It's defeatist, but at the same time, how do you not cheer for that guy?
This bottom number, though, you'd kind of like to see that start inching upwards towards the century mark a little bit.
I hate to sound like this, but I'm kind of glad this is happening. I want to see Baker I want to see him take it down about 15-20%. That's what I want. I think that he was, again, we talked about it last week. Is he bordering on confident or cocky? And is he leaning a little bit more towards cocky? I want him to get more towards confident because I think that he started getting a little too cocky.
Well, and we talked about this. I mean, we've talked about this the last couple weeks, and it's funny because I mentioned that my friend Ben shared this on Facebook today. Shout out to Ben if you're watching. He's another.
Thanks for watching.
Another Packer fan living up in Cleveland now.
Yes.
Said if Baker Mayfield is the new Brett Favre, I'm not sure Cleveland is prepared for that.
No.
I lived through the first one. One of my favorite players, but such a roller coaster. One of his friends points out, I'd like to think that we got a lot out of our system in 2016. I'd like to think we've matured. Do you think that's the case? Are you ready?
I do agree. And listen, Baker Mayfield has made it very, very clear that his childhood idol growing up was Brett Favre.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it. You can Google it and find it. But do you remember the picture when Brett Favre was drafted of him sitting in the bed?
Yeah,
and
no,
he's
Baker
talking
did
he reenacted the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like that's it. He's
all
Favre.
in.
He's all in on Favre. And I agree with it's Ben.
Yes.
I agree with Ben's take. I don't know if Cleveland is ready for that.
Yeah.
Listen.
Because you start giving them that little bit of hope.
Right.
And it becomes so much bigger than it really is. Because you're right. You're not going to go from a 2-15 team to a 15-2 team overnight.
Okay, are there 17 games in the season now?
I don't know. I don't do the math. I forget about the bye week. So does my fantasy team.
You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. And look, I'm born and raised Cleveland. We have very fragile psyches. We do. It's not our fault. It's trauma. We all have PTSD from this football team in the past 20 years. I can't say that I blame us for this. But no, we can't. Any sign of just a little bit of bad, and we're the sky is falling. It's not. I'm still holding true to the fact that these guys they're getting an entire franchise turned around. They're getting a culture turned around. We have a competent front office for the first time, and I can't even remember. John Dorsey is the undisputed leader of this entire franchise, and it's all going to trickle down.
You're making football moves.
We are. And here's the part where I'm going to talk every Browns fan off the ledge in one very, very important, simple point. And I want everyone to listen to this because it's true. If the Browns beat Baltimore next week, we're in first place all by ourselves at the quarter pole of the season. What more would you want as a Browns fan? 4 games in to be in first place in the division by ourselves too. Now, granted, we'd be tied, but head-to-head tiebreaker. That's it. We would be in first place.
Maybe you could not get excited about the quarter pole of this season.
But this is usually the time of the year where we know our season is over, though.
That's true.
This is when we start talking about the draft.
You've somehow already been mathematically eliminated.
Right, exactly. It's the truth. It's absolutely true. This is when we're talking about who the next coach is going to be, who the next front office. We're not doing that.
Right.
And that
you
really,
have hope.
We do. We have plenty of hope. And that's a real thing. Is it going to be a tough task next week? Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
But if you're the Browns and you're that team, you're that locker room, you're that franchise, this is the game you want. Mm-hmm. This is a game that you want because we've just went through everything that we've gone through. We've had some ups, we've had some downs, a lot more downs. It's been, I won't say that it's disappointing, but I'll definitely say that it was a shock. It was a wake-up call to us. Hey, don't go reading your own clippings too much because you're not Super Bowl contenders. You want this game.
Right.
You want to go into Baltimore and you want to start slapping some people around. This is a statement game. We can make a statement in this division to ourselves, to the fans, to everyone and say, hey, look, Everybody who was just mocking us and giving us all this shit and beating us up and blah, 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 that all ends if we go in there and wax Baltimore. And can we do that? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. I think that we are very, very evenly matched teams. Now, I do think that John Harbaugh. I do think that John Harbaugh's team is a year ahead of where our team was. And Lamar Jackson, look, I'm going to be the first person in the world to say that I ripped this dude all year last year. I said as soon as the defensive coordinators in the NFL figured him out and made him throw the football, he was going to be exposed and he was going to be shown to be a bum, blah, 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 blah. I was wrong the first couple weeks. I was. Now, he came down to earth last week. And he only completed 50% of his passes, less than 50%, and they took the loss. He's still lethal on his feet. I don't think that that's going to keep working though. You cannot running quarterbacks don't work in the NFL because they eventually get hurt. You can't take those hits. You can't take that beating. I think that you have to contain him. I think that you have to go after him, stop him on the run, make him beat you through the air. Our secondary should be improved next week. Although now I'm not worried about it after what I just saw. I'm not worried now. I was, but I'm not. I like what we have going. We get Denzel Ward back. We get some safeties back. We get Greedy Williams back. We're not getting Christian Kirksey back. That's still going to be, a problem. But if we can still get pressure from the line, I mean, we're about as two evenly matched teams as we can be.
Right.
Kevin, we're evenly matched here.
With someone. With anyone.
And I didn't think that we were evenly matched in that game yesterday either.
But much more so than...
Even full strength.
Yeah, right.
I still would have picked the Rams to win that game because they're so much more experienced. They know what they're doing. They do. Who's that? Let MG take a few penalties?
Matthew J.
I know who Matthew J is.
Oh, I don't know who these people are.
Well, let me introduce you to Matthew J.
Oh, dear.
Kevin, you need to know who Matthew J is.
Okay.
You are Matthew J's successor. He was the...
That's dangerous.
Yeah, he was...
In a whole number of ways.
Yeah, you're so much more pretty than he is, though. He was the original co-host of The Barking Lot.
Oh, I'm not a co-host. I just produce and yell at you.
Okay, well, that's even better, too. That's pretty much all he did anyway. And he said some things every now and again. He's a one-upper. That's what he did. He tried to one-up me all the time.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I do. Okay.
Yeah, okay, no, that's exactly. You guys are almost identical. Exactly the same. Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I don't know if Myles Garrett needs to get penalty yards for hitting Lamar Jackson. By the way, Matt, that's not a prudent plan. I mean, hit him hard. I'm for that. I think that we're evenly matched teams, and I think that we have the opportunity to just go into Baltimore, get this win, even everything up, and then everything's gone. You win this game, what can you complain about? You can't complain about anything because we're in first place.
Right.
That's all we want is to be in first place. And we've talked about this. We need to get that momentum going because the road ahead is still rough.
Yes.
I mean, these teams that we're facing, this is a gauntlet at the beginning of the season. You need to start getting these wins. You need to start getting the division wins. This is our first division game. Huge. You got to have this.
You want to take a look at them? You want to look at this?
Let's take a look at it.
All right.
Let's see what we got. Here we go.
Now, you are 2-1 on the season.
I am. I'm better than the Browns.
You're better than the Browns.
I've got a better record than the Browns right now.
I think the Rams made you a little more nervous than. I mean, you weren't the guy that lost. What was it? Who bet like $500,000 on the spread or something?
I have no idea who that is. That person
I just saw a random thing on the social media.
Oh, well, that person's insane, and they should probably not be part of our society for doing so.
Also, if you've got $500 million to spare, I'll put my mailing address on the screen.
I mean, maybe we should contact that guy, see if he wants to sponsor the show. Maybe we can get some more studio space. Help us out, brother. You know,
live from a closet.
Give him an over/under on us.
No, but again, and we talked about this last week too. In preparation for the Rams game, it doesn't get easier because you're at Baltimore, you're at San Francisco. You get to come home and face Danger Russ Wilson,
Seattle,
and then you go.
Oh, the Patriots.
Yeah,
the Patriots.
I feel after watching the Packers game this weekend, though, I feel a lot better about your matchup with the Broncos.
I'm okay with the Broncos. Although I didn't start Philip Lindsay this week.
Well,
damn it, it cost me. All right, here's my pick. I'm going with the Browns in this one. I say we go on the road. Again, statement game. This is a statement game for us. I think that we're going to get it together. I really, really do. I don't see, you know what stands out to me the most? I don't see anybody panicking.
Right.
And I don't see anybody getting pissed off. I don't see anyone getting agitated. I don't see any frustration. I see calm. I see, you know what? Wish we would have played better. That was a bummer.
Right.
But we know what we're doing. Everything's going to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
We're not used to that here. Like, to go to you, a reference that you're very well aware of. Relax. You know what I mean? I remember when that happened, and then all of a sudden, it was like everybody was like, "Oh, we should have relaxed.
Yeah.
We should have relaxed."
Everything's okay.
And
I
think that's where we are right now. I think that's where this coaching staff is. I certainly think that that's where Baker Mayfield is.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to not take them to task for the things that they're sucking at, because Baker's sucked at some things, and Freddie has sucked at some things, and they need to stop sucking at those things. But I think that they can. And I think that they will.
Because I think they've seen a lot of the same things that we have. They've seen the way that they've played against these teams, and they've realized that the season isn't over. That they've played
3 games.
Well. It's 3 games. The first game, you got embarrassed. That was a wake-up call.
Pants.
That was too much off-season hype.
Yes.
You rebound from that. You wax the Jets because they're the Jets.
Because of the Jets, because they were a high school
and then
team.
you come out and you play well.
We went toe-to-toe with the NFC champions.
Exactly.
These guys were in the Super Bowl last year, and what do you want? That was
better quality from the AFC.
That was Rocky 1, okay? They were Apollo, we were Rocky. He lost that first one, man. But we went there with them. That gives me hope. With a decimated secondary and an offense that still hasn't quite figured it out. Let's get it figured out. Let's get our secondary back and do that again at the end of the season. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That gives me hope. That gives me hope. That keeps me positive. I'm just not going to be that guy, even though I'm conditioned to be. Oh, woe is me. I'm not doing that right now.
Right.
Because nobody else is doing that. In New York, when Odell Beckham Jr. was frustrated, he's kicking nets and getting into arguments on sidelines and He's not doing that. And we know what kind of a fiery player he is, too.
Exactly.
He's not doing that. We know what kind of a fiery player Baker is. He's not doing that.
No.
Jarvis Landry is Myles Garrett. Nobody is doing any of that.
The interesting thing to me is looking at Baker Mayfield and the types of things that he's putting out on social media, which the issues with players being on social media during the season aside, he wants the fans to bring it.
Yeah.
He's out there telling you, no, bring it to the game.
Right.
Every week. We need the audience, number one, to be fired up at the stadium. And number two, I feel like he wants to be held accountable by these fans because he knows what they've gone through.
Yes.
And he wants to prove that, no, I am here to help fix that.
And I think that there's a solidarity within this team as well. You know, in the post-game press conferences. By the way, everybody, I'd just like to point out that this show is still a work in progress. I'm going to start getting some post-game press conferences up. We're going to have more clips. Every week we're adding a few more things. We got a couple more graphics up. We're going to add more computers and more people and more robots and all kinds of good shit.
All of this within compliance of the NFL's restrictions.
Yeah, what he said. We're going to do all of that. But we're going to be able to bring some press conference stuff. So just keep sticking with us. Things are going to get better and better. But I bring that up only to say they were asking Freddie Kitchens, you know, hey, is it a problem with Baker? And Freddie Kitchens is like, put it at my feet. So then when they talk to Baker, they're like, hey, is it a problem with the play calling? And Baker's like, I know what you're trying to do. I'm not going to put it on coach. Put that on me. We didn't execute the play correctly. Mm-hmm. Everybody is, I mean, they're the loyalty on this team. They have each other's back. There is a level of fierceness. Don't F with me. Don't F with him. Don't F with us. We know we're not right now, but we're going to get this. Mm-hmm. If you're with us or you're not. That's my shirt right now. If you're not wearing orange and brown, you don't matter. That's it, baby. That's it. Zabo Apparel. You can drop that in if you want to real quick. There we go. Zabo Apparel. Go to his site, buy his stuff. And I don't know if we still have the Scottish Hammer t-shirt. Do you still have the graphic of that?
No.
Well, in any event, Scottish Hammer. He is running a Scottish Hammer t-shirt. Great looking t-shirt. Go to his site. buy that shirt. Proceeds, portion of the proceeds go to the Wounded Warrior Project. So check that one out as well. That guy. Wait, hold on. I have a monitor. There we go. Look at it. Look at the monitor because I got monitors now. We have a professional studio set up here. This is great.
It's not a professional studio.
Listen, we are. Don't tell people that. They need to think that it is.
Yeah, we're definitely not in a broom closet.
But in any event, listen, we're going to wrap this up here with that. I think the Browns go in. We get this done. I like the camaraderie of this team still. Like I said, I like the loyalty. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon at all. No. I'm still excited to watch this. We don't suck. We're going into the end of September, and the season is not over. We're not talking about the draft or who our next coach is going to be. So I'm in a good mood about it.
I've got one stat of the week for you.
One stat of the week. Let's see that stat of the week.
Brown paper bags.
Brown paper bags.
Only seen in Miami this week.
Poor Miami.
I'll leave that there for you.
How many paper bags? Did we have a stat on how many paper bags are there?
Listen, you're pushing my statistical capabilities over here.
We need to get another robot in here to figure this out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for watching. Check us out on all of our social media sites. Twitter's a big one. We're tweeting a lot. We're getting a lot of information. Oh, real quick before we go, I did put up a couple of things on Twitter during the game last night. Some plays that happened, some penalties that weren't called, which I thought were complete and total BS. So
the face mask for sure.
Absolutely. How does it not get called? It's frustrating. We know in Cleveland we got to fight the refs too. But go to our Twitter feed.
Barking Lot Show. At
Barking Lot Show on Twitter. Check that out. I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter a little bit later talking about Baker Mayfield. Are you concerned about his play, this and that and the other thing? We'll see.
I'm concerned about your ability to put a poll
I'm going to put up a Twitter poll. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just mashing buttons. I'm a freaking monkey over here.
Yeah, that's what you're here for.
All right, yeah. So, but check us out on Twitter. Obviously, subscribe on the YouTube link.
Because plus when you subscribe, that little thing pops up in the corner there.
Oh, yeah, look at Baker. Look at Baker. It's a baby Baker. It's a baby Baker. We'll get Baker on there a little bit more. Subscribe to us, like us, check us out on Facebook. Leave comments, everybody. Talk to us on Twitter. Tell me I suck. Yes. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Whatever you want to say, do it on Facebook. Do it everywhere. Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors. Come see us. Parting shots. Any gifts?
As Matthew and P-Dubs can confirm, if you start chatting with us during the show, I'll make Mike answer your questions one way or another.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Or at least duck them.
Listen, we're going to, as soon as we figure, we're going to get Skype in here too? We're going to Skype some
Yeah, I haven't figured that out yet, but sure.
We'll get there.
I think that's a bandwidth issue more than anything.
We need another robot, don't we?
We need more internet.
We need more internet? Yeah. Can we steal some of your neighbors or something like that?
We need some pipes and tubes.
Tubes. We have two. I can get some tubes. You don't want to know how, but I can get you a tube. All right, on that one, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll see you next week on the Barking Lot Show.